All right, so this is the rest of Caesar, Book 6, Chapter 14. Note that Caesar is still talking about the Druids, and here in primis literally means in the first things. In English, we'll typically say something like in the first place. In the first place, right? Volunt, here volunt refers to the Druids, so they're still your subject. Volunt persuadere hoc. Now, this hoc is the accusative direct object of persuadere, and it's going to, with this verb of saying or thinking, it's going to introduce an accusative infinitive construction, which starts here with non inter ire animas. All right, and the hoc refers to this. So they wish to persuadere hoc that non inter ire animas. Animas here is your accusative subject of this accusative infinitive construction. So non inter ire animas said, and this is going to express a contrast with what came before, ab aliis post mortem transire ad alios. What you need to get from this clause is the fact that your motion is suggested ab aliis, from some, ad alios, to others. Remember that ab will always go with the ablative case, ad will always go with the accusative case, right? And this will happen post mortem, and here transire is still governed by the subject animas. Animas is still your subject, so animas transire. Still accusative infinitive construction, still dependent on persuadere. Note that with a verb like volunt, which requires a complementary infinitive, that complementary infinitive, if it is a verb of saying, thinking, or perceiving, can in turn take an accusative infinitive construction, right? So don't be too put off by that. Okay, and then atque here is going to link putant with what came before. So atque putant, so your main verbs here are they volunt and they putant. Here I hope that you can remember this is one of your fairly common vocabulary items. And again, after a verb of saying, thinking, or perceiving, you're going to have an accusative infinitive construction. This one doesn't have an express direct object, but the implied direct object is the people that they are trying to persuade, right? And then here, hoc is ablative, right? So by this, and this is the same thing referred to here. So here this was an accusative direct object. Here this is hoc, the ablative. And this is an ablative construed with excitare. So they think that excitari hoc, by this, right? Maxime ad virtutem, right? And then here you have, in brackets, an ablative absolute, metu mortis neglecto. So metu and neglecto should be taken together, and the metu is modified by mortis. It's the metu mortis. Okay? Note here that the ablative absolute is used to set out the circumstances under which something else in the main clause takes place, right? So, ad virtutem excitari with the metu mortis neglecto. Okay. So here then you have praeteria, and furthermore, right, they do a lot of things with this verb disputant. They disputant. Hopefully you can get the English derivative here. And note that disputant is contrasted with putant. Right? So putant and disputant. These are etymologically related. Right? I'll erase that one off of there. So putant and disputant. So they disputant multa, many things, desideribus, right? Atque eorum motu. Here you should have de again, de eorum motu, and the eorum is referring back to sideribus. De mundi acterarum magnitudine. So here this is de magnitudine, mundi acterarum. These two are your genitives. De rerum natura. Here again, this is an ablative, so de natura rerum is what you're looking for. This typically rerum natura is used to describe the physical state of the world, right? For writing cosmology and things like that. And then you have de deorum immortalium vi ac potestate. So vi ac potestate are both ablatives, which should be construed with de. So about the That's an ugly arrow. About the vi ac potestate, and these are both modified by deorum immortalium. Note that this is your third declension adjective, genitive plural. Right? So they disputant about all of those things. Remember, the Druids are a priestly class. Et iuventuti tradunt, and they tradunt, and then here you have a dative, juventuti. Juventus is quite often used as the state of youth, but here it's just used for the young or youth more generally, right? In the same way that in English we'll talk about, oh, well, the youth of today, etc., etc., etc.